your pain receptors will tell you, stop it, so that you protect your full capacity to act physically. Because if you have one hand burned, then you can do all the things you can do. Or, the pain is here. The first function is to let us know that something is, our physical body is in danger. So this is the way I approach negative feelings. They hurt, this discomfort. They are telling you, they are here to protect you. Like, they are here to protect your best, empowered, loving self.
Right.
Because if you indulge in them, then your awareness shrink, and then you're not at your best potential. You get angry, and then maybe you snap at people you love. You do the opposite of what you would like to do.
Stephanie Romeo, you work in the holistic wellness field with clients, and you use a special method called the KAL Method, KAL. First, could you tell us a little bit about what got you started in the holistic wellness field?
Yes. Well, before, what took me to this activity, and this, which is like a mission, I would say, is an accident that I had in 2015 that changed my life, and that turned my life upside down, first of all, because it was pretty violent. And because before that, I used to work in operating rooms as a sales rep. So I was not really I've always been interested in psychology, understanding people, but not in that way. And so in 2015, I had this accident, and I went through very, very difficult time after that. And because I went through depression and PTSD, and that I struggled to get out of the abyss, and that I found the tools and the keys, what worked for me, and also then a specific approach, maybe more, not wanted to say accurate, it's maybe more specific. I think it's more global by the approach with the KAL method. That was like obvious that I had to share it with people, and that's what I do now.
So you were in the medical field, but just from sales perspective.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And the event that happened, that was an accident, it demanded that you make changes in your life, and also kind of pushed you into the field
Yes.
to find an answer, basically.
Yes, because that was an accident that caused a lot of suffering, a lot of physical pain and emotional pain, a lot of scarring, or I was burnt, actually.
Okay.
So I got skin grafts, and so there's body damage.
Yeah.
So going through so much pain, that I didn't think possible, it it gave me also the idea that if this exists, like this, like darkness, the darker of a darker, I don't know if we
Mm-hmm.
can say that,
Yeah.
then it gave me the conviction that there are things that I don't know, and that the opposite surely exists.
Mm.
And that made me uh, believe, like, yes, that makes you feel humble anyway, to
Yeah.
go through such an experience, because both my hands were burnt, so you totally rely on other people to take care of you.
Mm.
That was a total change of life, because I used to be very active and free
Mm-hmm.
and go here and there, and then in a second, your life is you depend on other people, and then you feel isolated in compressive garments that you have to
Mm.
wear for 2 years. I mean, there's a
Wow.
lot of things that go with being burned, and so this whole experience led me to what I do now um, with my heart, really.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you basically were brought through with pain and a lot of pain into probably having to control your reactions to the pain as well. And also to really just a whole life change.
Hmm.
Your whole life had to change with the hands, with the sales in general. Typically, you want to be in control and in charge of what's going on, so that you can perform the act of sales and not have somebody else doing all the work for you. That's a
Hmm.
good portion of being out on the beat and selling stuff. Having that all taken away for 2 years, that seems like a very long time for the healing to happen. That definitely changes the whole life for sure.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. When you come from, it depends on your personality, but I can say that I was pretty controlling,
Yeah.
and yeah, feeling very in control of my life. And then it seems that your life um, is not yours anymore.
Right.
And there are so many questions that such an event can trigger. And some will find answers with time
Mm-hmm.
and in the future, like this question, like, why did this happen? Because this event was also very triggering for me, because my dad died in the crash of his plane years
Mm.
before the accident, and he was caught by the flame.
Wow.
So, like, why did I have to know all this, that this pain is possible? This was probably the most traumatic thing for me, to know how much a human can suffer.
Right.
And
Yeah.
these questions, actually, I found answers. And I'm now at peace with all these questions. Why suffering exists? Why are there terrible things in the world? Um, how can we find peace? Yes, I found some keys, and that worked for me. And so they work for others.
Mm-hmm. So let's dive into that. The KAL method, the KAL method. What does that stand for, and where did that come about?
Mhm. So KAL stands for knowledge, awareness, and love, and especially self love.
Mm.
Because I found out that so we need specific knowledge, and this knowledge that I didn't have for a long, long time. So first, the knowledge is important. So how the brain works, what the relationship between thoughts and feelings, and how we can be in control of them. What Because we have more power than we think. And when we go through a hard time, we feel pretty disempowered, and we have a lot of terrible feelings that are in addition to the pain and the loss, maybe the loss of maybe the physical aspect that I had, that I don't have anymore. So
Mm.
there's this, and there's the shock, of course. There's this part, this is like the necessary part where you're going to suffer, but then unfortunately we add more suffering with anger, fear, maybe regret and guilt, a lot of guilt. I had a lot of guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those those feelings, they were not necessary. So this is we need some knowledge first of all, and then the thing is that I wondered why sometimes we do have the knowledge, and yet we keep living as if we didn't have it.
Right.
And I found like it's because of the awareness. At one point, we've fallen into some kind of unawareness. We are not aware anymore. We are not present anymore. We don't have the clarity that we need to access the knowledge. So we need a second component, and this second component is awareness.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the obstacles to awareness? And if we learn the obstacles of awareness, then we are more likely to access the knowledge that we need to feel good, to be in a better place, to take care of ourselves. So to take care of ourselves actually is the third component. It's like self-love. If
Right.
I take care of myself, then maybe I do whatever it takes to remain in this awareness space, and so that I can always access the knowledge. If I take care of myself, but how do I do that? It's by taking care of ourselves. Actually, for me, it's mainly to not hurt ourselves.
Mm.
And the way we hurt ourselves is by creating and negative feelings, indulging in negative feelings. And so we hurt ourselves, we scare ourselves, we blame ourselves, we make themselves feel guilty, all these things, we make ourselves feel angry. But it's tricky because all these negative feelings, they are the ones that prevent you from being aware. So it's all in a circle, and you want to be like in the KAL cycle, like, or a circle, like in the middle of it, and as much as possible. So the method actually is based on these three pillars. The knowledge that we need, you need specific knowledge that I teach through the coaching sessions.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know what are the obstacles of awareness and how to bring yourself back to awareness, to this state. And you need to learn how to love yourself. And so we do that, and that's actually this method. This is what really helped me to get rid of the last residues of my own trauma.
Mm.
Because when I came across coaching and information that changed my life, then I dove into coaching and I learned, and then I healed, really. And there
Mm-hmm.
was still a little part that was still there. Like I couldn't feel truly joyful, have joyful moments without a little bit of sadness, thinking in the back of my mind, but some people are suffering right now, and I know how horrible it is.
Mm.
And so always, I couldn't feel light anymore. So it was like it was gone forever.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And and then because and by applying the method, I realized all the errors, and then now I feel even emotional by saying it or thinking it, because it was so much suffering before that I can be fully happy.
Mm.
And when I have a moment of joy, it can be fully lived. And this is
Right.
what all that I wish for everybody who's going through so difficult things. That's why I'm a coach. I'm a trauma coach. I help people um, release the pain of trauma and feel good again, feel happy, and maybe in a way they have never felt happy.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. That's fantastic. And so it's a long journey
Hmm.
to get from where you were, the depths of darkness,
Yeah.
and of what pain can do and what it can bring up.
Mm.
Pain itself is a tool that can help you access how you deal with things. It
Yeah.
can help you assess what tools you currently have in place. Do I have the tools to handle this situation mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically? And it has a way of kind of limiting and bringing everything to the forefront real quick as
Yeah.
to what tools we have to handle life, basically.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
like that about the KAL method, that it involves initially knowledge,
Mhm.
because we do need to know what it is in the first place. We need to have some kind of base of understanding. That's actually what we do with SAF. Very much the same thing. It's you need to know about
Mhm.
yourself and
Mhm.
how that all operates and how the body operates in anatomy and everything. In trauma, it's no different. How does that all happen? What are these mechanisms? And then I like that awareness. I like that interpretation of awareness as being active and being current and now,
Yeah.
because that is in the essence of it. That
Mhm.
is what you're looking at is being brought back to the moment. And the self love, I think, is probably a really hard thing for a lot of people because they have that internal dialogue chattering in their head that is typically negative or limiting and
Mhm.
telling somebody that they can't do that, or
Mhm.
everybody will laugh at you, or whatever it might be,
Mhm.
or what was or what will be, living in the future, living in the past, that kind of thing in the mind. So bringing that back to self love so that you can love others more purely, I think that's just that's fantastic. That's great.
So just to about knowledge, the knowledge I'm talking about is knowledge that serves, I would say. And it can be very simple knowledge, but basically it's how things work and how our thoughts create our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And that we don't have to believe all the thoughts we have. And so these kind of things. Because I found out that sometimes we get some knowledge from the scientific point of view, but this knowledge, the question I ask myself is always, does this serve me? How does this knowledge makes me feel? And if it doesn't make me feel good, it means that I don't need that. I would always rely on some knowledge that makes me feel good. Like I will always believe in neuroplasticity. Because if I think that I am, because this happened to me in the past, then my brain, there's a lack of something else, then I'm screwed. And that it's terrible, I think. So it's always finding a way to see to see things in a way that serves me. And if this is very clear for me that there is things that serves me and things that don't serve me, it's because I want to remain in this awareness state. Because when I feel good and at peace, then I have access to much more possibilities and to this state of awareness. I will never be like, because the thing is that when I don't feel good, my awareness shrinks.
Mm-hmm.
My options are limited. I give away my power. There's a lack of power here.
Right.
And that's the goal, actually. Awareness is to give you more power. So the goal is actually to help you remain in a positive state of mind so that you can catch yourself when something triggers you, like when you feel bad. And because there's so that will answer to another something that you said about self-love,
Mm.
that you said it's hard for people to love themselves. It's true, because we don't know how to do it.
Right.
And this is another thing. So the KAL method has three components, like three pillars: knowledge, awareness, self-love. And there is a special trick or tip or something in it. It's about feelings and negative feelings. And how? So I already said that, like, if I consider that having negative feelings, it's like hurting you. It
Mm-hmm.
hurts you, right? Physically, it hurts you. So, and this is because I was obsessed actually with this question of why do we have to suffer?
Hmm.
This question of suffering. And I asked myself, that was a pivotal moment actually for me, and that created for me like the oh, okay, that's something that I hadn't understood before, and this is it. The question I asked myself was, what is it that I don't know? Because there were things that I ignored, and that's why it was so hard for years. And what else is it that about suffering that I don't know? And the answer I get is, well, negative feelings, they are not as necessary as we think they are. That's why I said indulging in them.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it doesn't feel like it, of course, every people who suffers, they're not like, I'm not indulging in feeling. Of course, I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you just don't have the keys yet. And you will understand once you have the specific knowledge about how our negative feelings actually are telling us that the thought that we are thinking that creates this negative feeling, this pain in your body, is not a thought that you want to keep believe. This is really like, it's painful. Like literally, it's painful in your body. It's like your body tells you, like, stop it. You need to change your view of the situation. You're hurting yourself. And because you're hurting yourself, you're like shrinking your awareness, and then you don't access to your potential. It's exactly the same with physical pain. If you this is a kind of funny example that I take because of being burned, but I think it's like a very good example. If you put your hand over a flame,
Hmm.
your pain receptors will tell you, stop it, so that you protect your full capacity to act physically. Because if you have one hand burned, then you can't do all the things you can do. Or, the pain is here. The first function is to let us know that something is, our physical body is in danger. So this is the way I approach negative feelings. They hurt, this discomfort. They are telling you, they are here to protect you. Like, they are here to protect your best, empowered, loving self.
Right.
Because if you indulge in them, then your awareness shrink, and then you're not at your best potential. You get angry, and then maybe you snap at people you love. You do the opposite of what you would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And this is key, actually.
Yeah. So in the idea of the candle, you, instead of holding the hand to the flame, and you pull away,
Yes.
and if indulging in those same negative feelings and thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
then you will never use a candle again because of the fear of that burn that will happen, that pain suffered from the candle. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that's not really what I think I wanted to say.
Okay.
I'm sorry that I wasn't maybe clear with my example.
No, that's fine.
I
Well,
wanted
it's
to.
just that the idea that once you lock in a an emotional response to something,
Hmm.
and that is attached to negative feelings, that indulging in them over and over and over again is a bad or limiting thing on your life, because you'll always not trust flame because of holding your hand over the candle will cause your receptors already told you you'll get burned and there's pain involved. So no more candle, and maybe no more candles in the house and something like that.
Hmm.
That's kind of how it can spiral. How these emotions and these triggers can kind of spiral in our life as we live, as we go beyond that point in time and that point in reference when we really needed the negative pull away, pull away.
Hmm.
We needed it then, but do we still need it? and is it something that we're holding on to over time?
Mhm.
Is that kind of, does that go along with what you're saying?
It's kind of complementary.
Yeah,
Yes, I think I wanted to use like just the image that the physical pain is warning us. It is telling us something,
yeah.
and the a negative feeling is telling us something.
Hmm.
And what happens currently, like usually, is that we misinterpret this feeling. First of all, we think that we feel bad because something happened in the past, or that's because somebody does something right now that they shouldn't do, and we think this is the reason why we feel bad. But it's not. We feel bad always because we are thinking a thought, we are having a sentence, a judgment, something. We are thinking a thought that make us feel bad.
Hmm.
The thing outside the past itself, it's over. I mean, all the only thing that exists is right now. And right now, usually, unless somebody is running after you with a knife, there is no problem. You have come back here.
Right.
This here is fine. So this is really the this is like a parallel that I make to make people understand that if you put like if something hurt in your shoe, you're going to remove your shoe and then put the thing away. You're not going to keep walking with a nail in your shoe.
Right.
It's the same thing with a negative feeling. You have to take it as a signal that what you need to remove is the thought that is
Hmm.
creating this negative feeling, because your body is telling you, stop it. It hurts. I mean, I'm hurting you. Like this is, I'm hurting you so that you can, to wake you up, to wake you up. So this is
Yeah.
this is all theory, of course,
Yeah.
because this has worked for me and this works for my client.
Hmm.
Because when you tell someone, when they realize maybe they are very in pain because they are thinking that they are, um, they feel, they feel that they are like not lovable. Let's say,
Hmm.
like nobody will ever love me.
Right.
And then I ask them, how does this make you feel? Well, terrible, of course. And then if you include that there's a mistake, there's an error somewhere in your thinking that triggers this negative feeling, then it means that the thought is not for you to think. So usually you take the opposite, or then you tweak the things. I mean, there are many ways, and this is what we do and what we learn in coaching sessions,
Yeah.
how to tweak our thoughts, how to change them. And then you come to, maybe somebody will love me, because it becomes obvious that, yeah, that's wrong actually. If I think I'm not lovable, so it means that, so does it mean that I'm lovable? Yes. How does it feel when you think that you are lovable? Well, I feel so much released.
Hmm.
Yes, this is it. And then, because we feel released, this is a door to go to awareness.
Right. To get
Like
into the
you feel
moment.
better, and then you access the knowledge, and it's like that's. I think it's beautiful when it happens all the time, and
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's freeing and liberating too for the person, right?
Yes. So does it
It's
make sense the way I explained it this way?
Yeah, yeah.
Better?
It's
Okay.
very cyclical too. So they both, all three parts of the knowledge, the awareness, and the love, they all kind of reciprocate to each other very eloquently and allow for an unbroken chain to exist,
Yeah.
where you have the knowledge, you build the awareness, you gain in love. So there's this kind
Exactly.
of nice pattern that's created.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
And as far as for clients go, what is the typical approach that you have? Are you doing this in person? Is it mostly over the internet? And how do you approach clients in general?
It's always online, so it can be accessible very easily. And so clients come, so I coach in English and in French because
Hmm.
I'm French. As it,
Yep.
I guess everybody's noticed.
Yeah.
And So we always start with a free consult to see if it's a good match,
Right.
if we want to work together, if I feel that this person is also ready for the work, and they will see it anyway. And then we start to work together, always online. And usually we go for 12 weeks because we want the new patterns to settle in. So there are things to uncover, of course, and
Right.
the relief can be pretty quick.
Yeah.
But then we need to have it become an habit.
Yeah.
And it will always be to work on, because it's like, I think I really compare it to, if you wash yourself once, you can't expect to feel to feel comfortable and to smell good in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
That won't happen.
Right.
So it's an ongoing work all the
Yeah.
time. And it's like brushing your teeth. You have to know what you're thinking. You have to be aware, to be attentive to what you feel. But I want to let people know that it's not, do I have to live like a monk, or to have no feelings at all? No, absolutely not. Like, I think I've come across like somebody pretty alive, which I am. And of course you will always have like ups and downs, but you will know how to manage it, and this is the best thing. I mean, how many uh like, when sometimes, because it happens, like it's like it happens that it seems like you can't have a grip on your thoughts,
Right.
and then you feel bad. But here also there's a way,
Yeah.
and there's always a way. And so that's awesome, because then you come back step by step. And um, and so I'm so grateful that I found people who shared tools with me, like coaching tools, some knowledge, with the knowledge.
Hmm.
And so I'm very, very grateful for that. But
Yeah.
I have this, and that's why I want to share it, and that's what I do.
Yeah. Absolutely. And do you, so you're doing a lot of outreach, and are you also a facilitator or a teacher for the KAL method?
Yes. Well, I'm developing it. Like, I think at one point I will certify other coaches to the KAL method.
Hmm.
I do some. I'm starting actually to teach, like on like online or on person. This is ongoing, and building it, and yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
this, according to me and to people who have used it, like, we all agree that, yeah, people should know about that.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like other
And
methods, of course, all the things that work, of course. There's the
right.
kind of method and other things, of course.
Now, is the coaching method just one method of approach, or is it the best vehicle for um, uh, delivering the KAL method to clients?
So first of all, I wouldn't say that this is the best approach. I think there are many best approaches. So in one way, it's the best approach for the people who it's meant for.
Right.
And actually, the KAL method for me is like a frame, because I use many tools in there. So
Yeah.
it's like cognitive behavioral therapy, NLP. I use other tools, many tools, all the tools I've collected and I've tried,
Right.
and what I think necessary. So for me, it's more like putting it this way. It's more to give a sense of, okay, what's happening when I feel bad, what's happening, what is it. So often I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm just not aware right now. So if I feel that I'm not aware, then I'm not going to react. So this method actually really helped me. This is another aspect of it, that it
Hmm.
helps. So even for people who haven't lived trauma, actually, it's like really like a way of life.
Yeah.
um, my the I have people who haven't. I mean, most of people have lived difficult things, but like on a daily basis, to know that if you are feeling bad, It's like it's meant to, as I said, suffering is meant to wake us up.
Yeah.
So feeling bad for me is like a form of suffering, and it's supposed to wake me up. So it's like a signal. And I need to wake up to remember that, okay, right now, I should not believe the thoughts, the terrible thoughts that I have about my partner, about this situation, this, and that, because I'm not in a good place to think.
Hmm.
I'm not aware. Like there's a lack of awareness here. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to settle down, like to calm down and to like bring myself together and with the tools and think and be forced actually to think in another way. And so when you know that you're making a mistake, and that's like you're more likely to not react and not make things worse
Right. Right.
and improve situations, including relationships. That really works for relationships.
Yeah, I could see it being very beneficial. Now, in that 12 weeks that you're working with a client, do you also work or coach with the client? Do you coach to how to approach people around them that may be limiting and negative as well?
Yes. I mean, we coach on, some, there are things like, it's like we use also daily life, because life, so there's no good or bad time. Actually, it's always time to be coached, because we
Mm-hmm.
use daily situations, current situations, to implement the new skills. That's the way I do it. And it makes the coaching sessions like, well, comfortable, I would say, and even pleasant. Even if sometimes there are tears, of course, because we need to release some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, I mean, but this is good tears, those tears that clean. And then uh, we use so things happen. And of course, the people around you, your relationships, because life, it's always about relationships. Most of the time, it's
Yeah.
about relationships with ourselves, with our past, and relationships with people. And those are the most important.
Yeah. Well, I find that a lot of times when you're in a negative frame of mind or an unconnected frame of mind where you're not connecting the dots between the knowledge and the awareness
Yeah.
and the self love, um, you may attract people around you that have a negative basis as well. And to transform yourself might also entail, of course, your approach to those people,
Hmm.
how you approach them, how you speak to them, but
Yeah.
also the respect that you would require back from those people that may be out of their range. They're going to see the old person, not the new person.
Hmm. Yes. So there's sometimes it can be necessary to isolate ourselves and protect ourselves from negative people, if it's possible. But anyway, I will always teach that somebody who is not acting the best way, those actions, where are they coming from? They are coming from some kind of unconsciousness, thoughts and feelings that are not like kind of clean, and then those are the actions that are, so that are the results. And um, there's always a way to I think that compassion feels always better than being afraid of some, of course, if you need to be afraid, maybe there's like physical reasons and you need to protect yourself. But wanting to change someone, because we can't change people. Our behavior maybe will induce a changement in somebody else. But I will always invite to go to compassion. Like, if they behave a certain way that is not like the best way, obviously, it comes from some kind of suffering that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we feel good, we have like good actions. When we feel bad, it's like not so good. So their suffering, again, suffering is here to wake us up.
Mm-hmm.
So then their suffering is here to wake you up. It forces you to become the the person that is aware now, like to be
Mm-hmm.
the observer. And actually, you can use others to wake you up,
Right.
to be like, oh, wow, okay, I see what's going on. Instead of going in the loop with the other person and then fighting back, and then here you go, you lose your awareness. And no, use this person and try to understand what's going on. Because maybe if you have a thought like, oh, they shouldn't do this way, when you think whenever you think they shouldn't, when you argue with reality, with what's going on, how do you feel? Bad? Okay, you're feeling bad. That means, what does it mean? Oh, that I'm making like a thought error. Yes, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they are doing this. We don't say that we approve of it, of course, but that's what they're doing. And you adding your resentment, your like, no, they shouldn't, or of these things, is it going to help? No, it
No.
doesn't. We make worse the situation. So why I'm so passionate about what I do is because there are things we will never prevent. So like suffering of the world also is here to wake us up.
Right.
But what we usually do, and what everybody is trying to do, and it's not because we do this consciously, of course, is that instead of waking up, we sleep even more. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let me explain. That something bad happens, we can't prevent it. Maybe there's an earthquake. People are dying and suffering. Well, maybe that's not a bad example because everybody will agree that an earthquake we can't prevent, and
Right.
feeling bad. Okay, so maybe a better example is somebody, yeah, hurting someone. That's terrible, but that
Mm-hmm.
happens, right? That
Right.
always happens. Somebody somewhere, sometime. If we add, so we can go to like we want it to feel awful, so this is the feeling that we will feel, and we want that actually, but we don't want to stay there. Like when somebody dies, for example,
Right.
that's going to be very painful. Of course, that's the loss. But then there are specific thoughts maybe that come with grief also, that comes with losing someone, and those thoughts, they are very painful.
Mm-hmm.
And if you indulge in those thoughts, thinking them, not identifying as painful, and that they are here to wake you up, so that there's another way to see the things, then you end up yourself being bad with yourself, like feeling bad, and then with your own environment. Whereas something in the world is happening, there's something negative, okay? And then what you're doing is that you're bringing even like more anger, and that this shouldn't happen. And what you're doing is that you are disconnecting from your children, from your parents, from your loved ones. This is what I've done for a long time after my own trauma. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I know now that was a double penalty,
Right.
not necessary. And we can learn how to do that. Like so, there's a lot of yeah, there are so many patterns that we use as humans that we think is just so normal. When like even saying, "Oh, that's a pity," or things like that. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
it goes to regret, but like that's done. What's the point of thinking such a thing? You should have done this and that instead. Yeah, I think I know that, but what can I do next time? This is the
Yeah.
question. We always want to ask ourselves empowering or loving questions. There's always a more empowering or loving thought.
Mm-hmm. So it's correcting the thoughts, but it's also correcting our ability to speak to other people and how
Yeah,
we approach with the words we use. Because you could say that the words that we use with others is a form of emotional hypnosis where we're all kind of agreeing on being negative or all agreeing on being positive, depending on
exactly.
how we speak to each other.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Actually, sometimes the need for connection, unfortunately, leads us to more unawareness, like because we want to connect and we want to go into self-pity, but then it maintains us into a negative state that
Yeah.
doesn't serve. And so we need to be aware of that. And if we are, at least it's like there's more awareness if we know that, if we have the knowledge and the
Right.
willingness to love ourselves and take care of ourselves, we can be more aware.
Yeah, definitely. What as far as in the world with all sorts of the things going on, are you seeing a movement towards greater awareness and a greater light being out there in the world, or are you seeing it move towards less of that?
Okay, I'm going to answer a question, the way I want to see the things and the way it will serve me. I
Mm-hmm.
want to believe that people want to and can be more aware and more loving and more empowered through knowledge. And this is the thought that I'm going to choose, because if it's a fact that we can prove it, maybe, yeah? If we could prove it that no, people are really like, no, where they are going, like they are not, it's not good, it's not negative, everybody, no. If I start myself to believe that, how is this going to serve me? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to feel as defeated as others. So I want, we have the power. This is really great, good news, that we
Mm-hmm.
have the power to think and believe whatever we want to think. It's not being, maybe if a house is burning, it's not being delusional and thinking, no, I'm fine, I can stay here, of
Hmm.
course. But it's make the goal actually is to maintain you in a good state. And so it's I want to believe that people want to uh, im- be good with others, and at the same time I know also that suffering, because I have accepted that, is part of life. It's okay, it's okay, and we need that to wake us up. This is just an organization.
Yeah.
And some people, like I'm one of them, I've been through a lot, but see what I'm doing with it, I'm doing some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah. There we go. And I always said that everybody's doing the best they can with the knowledge that they have. Some people
Exactly.
just don't have a lot of knowledge,
Exactly.
and so
Yes,
they're only doing what they can with what they've got, and it's not a lot yet. But
exactly.
spreading awareness, spreading knowledge of self, I feel like is one way for people to start looking inward, to start seeing the world as a mirror versus something that they have to act on.
Hmm.
And in the idea that suffering will become a less of an effect for a greater majority. But that's the world we live in is a very interesting place. That's for sure. That sounds a lot like there's strains of Buddhism
Hmm.
involved in the approach. And is that what is the history behind this method?
So these stories, as I said, so it's all started with knowledge. Like there are things that I ignored when I was in depression, and that because I learned them, like so oh, that changed my world.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the awareness is uh, it's how yes, what I said. It's like why is that we lose, we all, for example, all we are I'm a coach, so I work with coaches, and sometimes we coach ourselves, we coach each other, and we're always surprised, like, but I know that. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, how comes that we forget that?
Right.
Oh, because we feel bad. Oh, feeling bad takes us away from the knowledge. Oh, so we need the awareness. And the
Mm-hmm.
awareness, actually, yes, it's like when we feel at peace, when we feel good, when we meditate, then we can access to more than when we can access to when we are agitated. And of course, my brother actually is a Buddhist, is a monk,
Hmm.
in a Buddhist monastery. I myself try as much as possible to connect with my inner self, or I say not inner self actually. I really feel like it's more like everywhere, and I call it like the non-physical, and
Hmm.
because I do believe, because of this experience, as I said at the beginning, that there are things, because if there is this darkness that I've visited, there's something else. And I don't believe that even the method that I've created, I haven't created it. I mean, it's all there already. It's just the
Right.
way that I put it, of course.
Okay.
It's already there. Okay. But I think that this interpretation that helps me, just like this, when when you have like a moment, you realize something, it doesn't feel like you made it. I mean, it doesn't feel that way for me. Sometimes it just like it's like I receive something. Maybe it's
Hmm.
kind of weird to say that, but that's the way it is. And it
Yeah.
will resonate with actually it resonates with the people I coach, and those are the people I help, and will come to me. And and there are many techniques, of course, out in the world, other techniques than the KAL method to release the pain of trauma, regain control of our lives, and feel happy again, fortunately, because we are
Right.
all different and the same at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so is the KAL method something that you created?
Yes, well,
In saying that it's a specific
yes,
KAL method,
yes, yes,
trademarked.
yes,
So it is. Okay, so that's
yes, it is.
fantastic. So you've come up with this, which is drawing from life itself, the methods to alleviate the trauma that we live through in life.
Yes,
That's great. That's
yes.
fantastic. So do you teach this then to other coaches, and how is that effort going?
This is a goal that I have because I've had a demand request. I haven't put together a program to do it yet, but this is something that I will definitely do, to certify people from with this KAL method, and so that it can be more known and
Hmm.
spread. Yes,
Yeah. Is that,
definitely.
if you're seeing a benefit for clients, I think the next natural conclusion would be, um, how many clients can you see in a week or in a month or whatever,
Yeah,
and would it be more advantageous if it's a benefit to have a greater majority of people actually utilizing this method so that more and more people can break free from their
yeah,
personal traumas.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So you're still working on the program.
Yes, yes, and actually, what I would like to do, even and I've started actually to write a book about that.
Hmm.
Maybe a short book, like how, especially about the feelings and how they are supposed to wake us up, because this is a key component. That this part, that uh, that's like the most important part, actually. If you get this part, like how feelings are here to, well, negative feelings are here to wake you up, and the suffering. So this is also a way to do it, like writing a book, and
Hmm.
then there's the communication part and how to have it known by people, because I just released a novel,
Mm.
and so I know the process, and it's uh, like how do you get known by people. And so this is, there's this part where we help people, but then
Right.
there's this part where how can people find you? They need to know you exist, and how do you do that? So thank you very much for inviting me on your
Yeah.
podcast. I'm very grateful that I can connect with your audience, and hopefully that what I said can serve. And so this is the thing, like how do we get known? But that's
Yeah.
another work. Yeah, that's a lot
Right.
of, yeah.
Well, it's a tricky thing because this day and age we have a lot more access to getting to people. It's still a matter of them to open it up and to read it or to investigate it further or to see the benefit.
Hmm.
The sales end of it still has to be pretty strong because you're trying to help people to understand what the process is and how it can benefit them in their life.
Yeah.
And that can be pretty straightforward with the right sales copy, with the
Yeah.
right written word. But it's still about getting it out to the masses
Yeah.
and seeing where water seeks its level. That is a trick. The method that my dad created, the self-awareness formulas,
Mm-hmm.
was a very similar thing in that he had to be constantly selling it. And he also wrote, and so through the books, he was able to spread the message as well of the
Mm-hmm.
system. But he was constantly selling the program. You have
Mm-hmm.
to be constantly trying to turn out more people to use it.
Yes.
And that, unfortunately, it takes away from the client work, and it takes away from developing the system even further, because you constantly have to try and get people to utilize the system. Um, so my advice there would be to find somebody else to do
Mm-hmm.
that sales arm as much as you
Yeah.
can. That
You're
way you
right.
can be free from it. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
you might love it because you were in the business before of sales. It's sometimes better to focus on what's the stronger part of the business or
Oh,
the
yeah. I
yeah
mean, yes, what I enjoy mostly to do is to like sharing. When I
yeah
share, this is what I love to do, and coach and help. This
yeah
is and you're right. I was thinking about, because I'm on social media, but having someone to help me with that, because it takes a lot of time. But at the same time, I need to be there.
yeah
But you're right.
yeah
It's better maybe to delegate. So I'm thinking about that as well.
yeah
um, yeah, I know that the goal anyway um, is to have this knowledge. I mean, what can help should be known by the world.
right
This is my you can't keep this for yourself, and that's a lot of challenge that comes with it, like this communication part, and
yeah
yes,
it's
marketing
just the
part, things
time
like that.
the
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
yeah it's the amount of time you have to devote to if you're going to do it all yourself. And I'm talking from direct experience here. You have to build the website for it. You have to write the programs. You have to write the dialogue and the written part.
Yeah.
You have to make it a course. You have to
Yeah.
sell that.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
so much that goes into it, and it's a matter of time. And that if you don't have the time to devote to it, it really stretches out.
Hmm.
It can take a long, long time if you don't
Yeah.
put the effort into it in the moment. But it sounds like it's a fantastic method and system, um, and one that definitely should be produced and spread.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
because it's
Yeah.
doing that thing. It's creating that awareness of the self. It's creating that out of that, creating the love for the self,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that will also increase the positive approach that people have to others.
Yes.
In theory, that should lessen suffering.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
yeah,
We do
that's
create
great.
our own suffering and create. Yeah. Imagine if there was less anger. So less anger. People manage their anger. Less
Right.
drama, because there are some. Yeah. What do
Well,
you
and
say?
you mentioned that having to isolate, if a person's in a situation that they can't control, they need to isolate themselves from the triggering experience as much as they can until they have the tools to overcome that. I think my example in my head that I try to pull out is somebody in your environment that's always there, perhaps a partner, a
Mm-hmm.
spouse
Yes.
that abuses alcohol,
Yes.
and so they're not in their right mind while
No.
they're drunk.
Yes.
They're not going to act the same,
Yes.
but then maybe that's a nightly occurrence. The key to handling that can be very tricky and difficult because the person that's trying to gain awareness and control over themselves isn't
Mm-hmm.
the person that is drinking.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I think these are the stumbling blocks in life
Mm-hmm.
where if we can overcome these things, we gain so much awareness, and because awareness, we gain so much power in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That we have these situations in our workplace, in our daily commute, in our home life,
Mm-hmm.
in our past,
Mm-hmm.
that we can overcome and maybe they're not easy, but the harder ones make us more aware, make us more powerful.
Hmm.
That, as a side, what is power? And that would be maybe another question. What is it when somebody gains awareness? What is this power that they gain?
Well, the power of making choices that feels like really like that's the right choice for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because otherwise we may be conducted by old beliefs and patterns, and we just do something to avoid something else, whereas what we would like to do is this. I want this and I'd like to have it, but I can't because of stuff in the past.
Yeah.
And when you gain the awareness, then you bring some more peace, and from this place, you can point out that, oh, I need to solve this. And if this is solved, then I can access to maybe having a life with a partner that I love. I'd like to have a relationship. Some people, sometimes they would like to have a relationship, but they always sabotage themselves.
Mm.
And this is because they think that it's not possible or something. And so when you gain awareness, then you get some control over what you really uh, over the life that you want to create. You can be more intentional rather than like being driven by being in a car and you're not driving the car.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes, that's yes, you want to go. The possibility that is offered is to go where you want to go,
Yeah.
and not where your programming, what then the past programming and fears and stuff are telling you to go to.
Yeah. And I think that that's the method, is the control method. It's a matter of gaining control over life, gaining control over your world. And it's not necessarily that everything's in control and you're controlling. It's that you are able to handle those things that are brought to you and control them as they come in.
Yes.
Whatever it might be, a thought, an action from somebody else, or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the control method is basically what it falls down to. Rather than trying to alleviate the suffering with pills or some kind of method of blocking, this is a direct approach to
Hmm.
handle life as it comes at you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. And that is driving the car. That is taking the wheel and actually, you know,
Hmm.
navigating,
Yeah.
navigating the waters.
and
Yeah,
and driving this car on the road that where you want to go. And sometimes when you are like, I take some often this analogy, like when you feel bad, it means that you are driving in the ditch,
yeah,
and on the other side, like
right.
so that's not, see, not that good.
Or you have no hands
um
on the wheel at all. You're just letting it go wherever it's going to
and
go. And
it's
yeah,
bumpy and it's uncomfortable, and so that's something like you're not like on the, let come back on the road. So what would it be?
right.
um,
Now, where do you see this? Where do you see your business and yourself in 5 years?
Oh, I love your question. Hopefully, well, I'd like the KAL method to be known more than it is right now, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I have the KAL school,
Hmm.
and I see myself actually as a speaker and sharing a lot. Like I like this format of being interviewed
Yeah.
and being able to answer specific questions to the specific problems people have. um, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I see myself doing exactly the same thing, like writing, because I write a lot. So writing, coaching. Maybe I won't do one-on-one anymore, but maybe I would do like group coaching, and maybe on on stage, maybe like in a conference, something like that. Yes.
Do you? So that's good. That's a good place. And basically, spreading the word in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, Now, have you traveled a lot?
Yes. I'm
So,
a traveler. Yes.
traveling. Okay.
I've always loved that. Yeah.
You mentioned that you wrote a novel recently.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that? What is that book?
It's a book. Well, it's inspired by the accident I had,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's the story of a woman who is very eager to live. Do you say that? Like very, she loves having new experiences. She's
Mm-hmm.
always running,
Wanderlust. Somebody that wants to travel and wants and is constantly on the go.
constantly on the go, and by doing that she's missing the what's there, because she's always like thinking what's next, what's next, what's
Mm-hmm.
next.
Mm-hmm.
And the by the way, the title of the book is called Tomorrow One Day Tomorrow Will End,
Mm.
which means, it's kind of weird also in French, but that means that the as she's always like looking for the future, and then she stopped so
Yeah.
brutally, and then she's forced to be like in the present moment, and this is actually where she finds the peace
Mm.
and the wellness that she was looking for by doing this and that and that. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's still a novel, so there's a lot of me, I mean the hard stuff, because some parts are like emotional, and this is what I like about this book, is that people say to me, the readers say, we we feel alive
Mm.
in the ups, in the downs. It's like, and that was the goal actually for me.
Yeah.
If people read this book and know that they are alive, this is my goal. That was my goal actually.
Feel a connection to the person in the book.
Yeah.
Okay. And to feel alive, and that would be more aware and more in the now,
Mm-hmm.
more in the moment. Yeah.
Yes.
And what is where is your favorite place that you've ever been to?
Well, I've all of them are so different because I've been
It's hard to do
into a
favorites.
lot of places, but
Yeah.
I always, it can be wherever, but I am very definitely a sea person. I love to
Mm.
be on the beach and in
Yeah.
front of the sea, and I just love it. So it can be anywhere in the world where
Mm.
there's a beach, and which is a bummer because I don't live by the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Uh, uh, uh. Yeah. Well,
Funny thing.
do you do boats? Are you like to be on a boat, or is it more about the
Uh,
coastline, being on the beach?
I wish I could be on a boat, but I'm very seasick,
Oh,
and I
okay.
haven't solved that. So yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to it. But the sound of the ocean, it's just such a great sound. It's
Yes,
very meditative,
yes,
very peaceful, and it's definitely a nice reprieve from the world of cities and goings on all the time.
yes. And I think of another place also. I think I have the same kind of feeling when I'm lucky to live in the countryside sometimes, and there's like a huge field where you can lay down and look at the stars, because there's nobody,
Mm-hmm.
no cities around, so it's like a full starlight. Do you say what
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
world? And I love that, to feel so small. I love that, like
Yeah.
like who are we? Just
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
that's
a lot going on right now with space. That's for sure.
mm,
They've taken these pictures of deep space that are quite amazing, and to be able to stare up and see what we can see, that's one thing.
mm,
Our personal view of the heavens, but with these new telescopes, the James Webb telescope that peers into the sky, and it can really diminish our sense of greatness and grandness, and everything revolving around us. It can really diminish that sense of the ego. It's a very big universe out there.
mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
love
Well,
it.
it was great having you on today.
Well, thank you very much, Nick, for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is a method. It sounds amazing, and very happy to get it out there, and hope that people reach out to you. Now we'll have your link in the description
Mm-hmm.
of the video and on the podcast as well. But if you'd like to, give your promo as far as where they can find you, and
Yeah. So I have a website which is called stephanieromeo.com. Very simple. And there's a guide about the KAL method. They can be downloaded. And also I'm on social media a little. Well, I am.
Mhm.
Facebook and Instagram. I'm struggling a little bit with that, but I'm
Mm.
working on it. Mainly on my website and Facebook. Yes,
Okay,
and
that's great. And your book, is that also available? Is that like an Amazon?
yes, but in
Use?
French right
Okay,
now.
French.
Yes,
Okay.
only in French. Un jour
Yeah.
demain s'arrêtera. Yes,
Hmm.
and hopefully I would like to have it in, published in English. Maybe
Yeah.
find yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you again for being here,
Thank you so much.
and I hope you have a great day.
You too. Have a
Take
great
care.
day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.